Rachel Morgan, 32, returned to Detroit for her parents' wedding anniversary. The house was full. 50 relatives, catered food, polished wine glasses, and her father at the center like a ringmaster. Paul lifted his glass with a practiced grin. "To family and to hard work," he announced. Then, in front of everyone, his voice sharpened. "Rachel will never amount to anything substantial." A silence fell like dust. Forks paused mid-air. No one said a word. Rachel's chest tightened, but this time something broke clean inside her instead of bending. For years she had swallowed these jabs, letting him narrate her life in his voice. Not tonight. If honesty's on the menu, she thought, clutching a binder in her lap, then I'll serve the full plate. Rachel had grown up on Maple Street, a suburban patch of Detroit lined with tidy lawns and watchful neighbors. Middle child, sandwiched between two brothers who carried the family's pride. Paul, her father, managed a factory floor with iron fists. Linda, her mother, typed minutes at a law office, her fingers always hovering between duty and silence. Order ruled everything. Sensible shoes, safe jobs, pay stubs that mattered more than dreams. But Rachel's eyes lit up at broken VCRs tossed on curbs. At 8, she'd pry open plastic casings, spread circuit boards across old newspapers, tracing wires like hidden rivers. One night, after months of tinkering, her basement computer sputtered to life with a glowing cursor. She dashed upstairs. "Dad, look. It works." Paul never looked up from his beer. "Girls don't need computers. Go help your mother." The rejection cut sharper than any screwdriver she'd held. Yet Rachel kept building. In high school she designed an inventory system from scratch, predicting shortages, cutting waste, winning first place at regionals. A tiny newspaper photo showed her ribbon and proud smile. Paul missed it, working overtime. "Competitions aren't real life," he grumbled when she brought home the medal. "Stop playing with toys." Her counselor whispered, "MIT," with bright eyes. Rachel carried those applications like contraband, hiding essays under her pillow. But Paul barked, "Community college. Secretarial track. Sensible futures only. Be realistic." Rachel nodded outwardly, but at night she worked, bagging groceries, tutoring classmates, filing essays at midnight. The day an acceptance letter arrived from MIT, with a scholarship covering 60%, her hands shook. "Debt for a useless degree," Paul scoffed. Her brothers earned applause. She learned to keep journals instead, dates, receipts, her truth on paper. At 18, Rachel packed 2 suitcases and left with a blue ribbon tucked between her shirts. Boston felt like ice under her shoes. Terrifying, sharp, honest. MIT sharpened her, too. In the labs, hunger wasn't weakness. Brilliance wasn't odd. But Paul's voice still traveled, echoing in her head. "Don't get carried away. Pass your classes. Get a job. Quit naming miracles." She wanted his approval so badly, she kept calling home with good news. Each time, his response was the same shrug, the same dismissal. Every student thinks their homework changes the world. Junior year, Rachel stumbled on a problem that sank its teeth in her. Warehouses bled money because managers guessed instead of calculating. She chased patterns in data logs, testing seasonality, promotions, shocks. Her algorithm listened harder than the people running the floor. Pilots showed waste cut by 30%. Her advisor clapped her shoulder. This could be published. Maybe patented. Rachel dialed home, voice bubbling. "Dad, it works. Shelves won't go empty anymore." Paul grunted. "Pass your classes. Quit dreaming." She swallowed disappointment and went back to work. Months later, her mother's cautious voice came through the line. "Don't be upset, Rachel, but your father told his friend Bill about the warehouse idea. They're using it. It's working." Rachel froze. "Did he tell Bill it came from me?" Silence stretched. "He didn't want to complicate things," Linda whispered. Rachel confronted Paul. He laughed. I simplified your academic theory so business could use it. If anything, I improved you. Rage boiled, but she steadied herself. She printed drafts, saved dated commits, archived emails, all neatly filed in a box labeled property. Do not edit. New rule. Protect your work. Rachel graduated summa cum laude. She left with 2 suitcases, sharper edges, and a promise to herself, never let him rewrite her again. San Francisco welcomed her like live voltage. On a small team, she fixed bugs that plagued clients for years. Crashes dropped. Retention grew. One day her boss, Janet, slid a promotion across the table. You've earned this. Rachel called home. Habit was muscle memory. Paul dismissed it, then bragged to neighbors that he mentored her career. 2 stories, 1 mouse, Rachel thought bitterly. She launched her own company from her kitchen table. Morgan Database Solutions. Restaurants were her first clients, then more followed. Systems she built breathed life into spreadsheets. Trade magazines noticed. She bought a small house. A money pit, Paul warned. Paper profits. Yet he held up the magazine, telling neighbors he'd guided her from day one. Pride in public, dismissal in private, the axis of his behavior. Rachel kept receipts. Momentum grew quietly until someone tried to stop it. Then came the anniversary party. By then, Paul's fiction had traveled farther than she knew. Aunt Carol mailed a church bulletin praising him as Rachel's mentor. Uncle Raymond sent a newsletter photo of Paul holding a plaque for lean innovation, an award based on Rachel's warehouse algorithm. Rachel's stomach dropped. Why is he credited for my work? She asked her mother. He likes how it sounds, Linda admitted. I can't keep correcting him when people clap. Rachel clenched her jaw. The anniversary, she realized, would be her microphone. She flew home, planning every detail of the celebration. Catering, flowers, seating charts. Paul hovered like a foreman, claiming each decision. To the florist, I chose Linda's colors. To the caterer, keep the ribs, it was my idea. In the den, Rachel found a manila folder titled Anniversary Talking Points. Her father's script dripped with falsehoods. Rachel's always been a dreamer, one line read. I kept her grounded. Mentored her through turbulence. Real success comes from practical men. It was theft written as affection. That night, Rachel prepared her own folder. She gathered evidence. Science fair ribbons, MIT acceptance letters, conference abstracts, client emails, contracts, even a photo of Paul's plaque beside her published paper. She slid them into sleeves, tabbed and labeled like a courtroom. Not to humiliate, she told herself, just to puncture the myth. Truth needs oxygen. Paper breathes. She rehearsed once, then closed the binder. Tomorrow, she would finally speak. By 6, the house was glowing. String lights, polite jazz, 50 plates. Paul clinked his glass. To 25 years and to family. He praised David and Michael for steady jobs, real work. Then his eyes fixed on Rachel. As for Rachel, she's a dreamer. High-tech toys, not real work. She'll never amount to much. Forks froze. Rachel stood. Her binder felt heavy but steady in her hand. If we're doing honesty, she said, let's do all of it. Don't make a scene, Paul hissed under his breath. Rachel met his eyes. You made it. She turned to the room. You've heard his version for years. Tonight, you'll hear mine. With dates to match. She opened the binder. High school science fair, blue ribbon, he called it trivial. MIT scholarship, he said women don't belong. My warehouse algorithm, he gave it to Bill. Trade magazine feature, he called it hype, then bragged he mentored me. That plaque you saw? That was my work. Paul flushed. She's emotional, he muttered. Rachel's voice stayed steady. Correct. Emotional, not confused. For 20 years, he dismissed me in private, then wore my work in public. If you think I'll never amount to anything, Dad, stop telling people you built me. The room exhaled. Uncle Raymond bowed his head. I'm sorry. I believed him. Aunt Carol wiped tears. We all did. Paul stammered. Maybe I misspoke. I was proud. Linda's voice rose for the first time. That wasn't pride. It was manipulation. David shifted awkwardly. We should have said something earlier. Michael added softly. We didn't know. Paul tried again. I prepared you for the real world. Rachel shut the binder with a snap. I built one. You just took the credit. She wasn't loud, but final. From now on, no borrowed stories, no fake mentorship, no myths. Speak truth about me, or don't speak at all. Silence spread like spilled ink. Linda squeezed Rachel's hand. Permission at last. Paul stared at his glass, suddenly too small in his practiced grip. Rachel glanced at the hallway photos, her own caption beneath a picture. Good with computers. Rewrite it, she whispered to her mother. Or take it down. Outside, the Michigan night was cold, but for the first time, Rachel didn't run. She walked through the door not as an exit, but as an entrance. The next morning, her phone blinked with missed calls and careful texts. Aunt Carol's long voicemail pleaded for peace. Paul posted nothing. For once, silence felt honest. Rachel drafted one email, short and dated. If my work is mentioned, speak truth or leave my name out. Any repeat requires public correction. Consider this final. She saved it alongside her other receipts. No replies needed. Back in San Francisco, she walked into her office later. 2 new clients signed contracts before lunch. The team cheered. She ordered pizza, raised a paper cup. To clarity, she toasted, not triumph. That week, she met with 3 interns from Detroit schools. Young women wide-eyed and eager. Keep notes, she told them. Keep receipts. Keep your spine. They scribbled eagerly. On Sunday, Linda called from the quiet kitchen. I changed the caption, she said, voice steady. It now reads, Rachel Morgan, engineer, founder, builder. Rachel closed her eyes, breathing it in. Sometimes love arrived late, but it still knew the door. Paul never apologized, but he adjusted, less boasting, fewer edits. Boundaries, Rachel realized, weren't punishments. They were survival manuals. She stopped auditioning for a father who wanted understudies. She stopped shrinking so his story could fit the frame. When relatives asked what happened, she told them plain, not gossip, not rage, just records. At night, she kept the binder visible but closed, like a fire extinguisher you hope never to use. If you're living under someone else's narration, she would later tell her interns, hear me, your work is not a costume for another person's stage. Say your name. Say your work. Say it again. She smiled. I'm Rachel Morgan. I built this with my own hands. The door I chose wasn't an exit. It was an entrance. And I've saved you a chair.